Hey Craftiana, today I'll be showing you how I made these Christmas ornaments. As you can see, they have a nice cute little bow, they have a picture on them, and they have a cardstock outline. So for my products, I use these acrylic rounds that I got from Hobby Lobby. These are the 3.5 inches. I got these out the Christmas section, come in a 10 for a pack. For my pictures, I use the HTV round printable vinyl. This is the matte version, you can use the gloss version, it's up to you. For my ribbon, I got this from the Dollar Tree. You can do with that information as you will. For my glue to glue everything together, Royal Glitz Diamond Glue. So let's get right into it. All starts in Cricut Design Space. Okay, we in Cricut Design Space. I'm going to go over here to the left. I'm going to click on Upload. This is where I'm going to upload my pictures. Then I have them already here, so I'm going to click on all the images I want to use for the ornament. So I'm just selecting them all, and then I'm going to click on Add to Canvas, Craftiana. Now, this is a lot of steps, so I'm going to need you to really pay attention. Pause where you need to, and go back and rewind, okay? After that end, my pictures came in real big, so I'm going to close this little sidebar, and I'm just waiting for them to load up. Bam, they popped up. As you can see, that is too big and it's taking up my whole screen, and we can't print that out and too big for our images. So I'm just sizing those all down to around 3 inches just for now. I'm going to adjust them later, but for now, just so I have some space up on my screen and can see what I'm doing and have those somewhat out the way, we're just going to make those a lot smaller, Craftiana. We don't need all that taking up our space, and we can't even see our screen, and you can't even see what I'm doing. So I just put a width of 3 inches, and a height just automatically adjusts itself. So I highlight all those together. Once I got those to the size I want, I'm just moving those to the side out the way because we need a lot more things up on this screen. Then once I have that good and done, I'm going to go back over here to the left side, and I'm going to click on images. I do pay for Cricut access, so do with that information as you will. Then I'm going to type in ornament outline. I'm going to find the ornament outline that I want. You want one that's a circular shape because our acrylic discs that we're using are circular shape. So you need an ornament shape that is circular. So I'm go up to the top and put in the width section of 3.5 because our acrylic discs are 3.5 inches. Then I'm going to go back to that left panel, and I'm going to click on shape. So I'm going to find me a circle. I just changed the color of that so you can see it better. So I'm making this circle to fit inside the middle of that ornament. I wanted to make sure I don't want it the full size of that outline of the ornament. I wanted to just make sure it's covering the full inside of that circle and touching the borders of that just a little bit, not fully all the way to the edge because I don't want it too big, but I don't want it small enough where when I put that black outline or actual ornament outline, it's not covering up the edges of that image. So once I got that size proportioning, I'm going to take my image and I'm going to adjust that size, and I'm going to make sure this purple circle is on top of that image and taking up the surface area that I want left of that image because we're going to be slicing that out. So I'm moving that and playing with that. You don't want to adjust the size of your circle, only the size of your image. Once I got that where I want, highlight both of those layers. I'm going to click on slice. Doing this, it removes the excess of that picture and we create that circle shape. So I move that circle shape out the way. Then I have a circle of the image, and that background layer, I just click on that and I press the delete button, and that's out the way. So I have a circle image to fit in that circle of the ornament. This circle is basically our template and our guide of the ornament. So I'm going to do the same thing to the next picture. I drag that to where I want it to be. I got that circle. I hover it over the image. I'm going to make the image bigger, not the circle, because the circle is our ornament shape, and we don't want to adjust that size because then if we do that, it messes up our ornament. It's going to be too big or too small. So I cover it up, make sure everything that I want of the picture that is inside that circle. Once I got that, highlight both of those layers, click on these 3 dots, and then I'm going to click on slice again. So I move that circle out the way, move the excess out the way of the leftovers, and I click on the leftover of that picture and I delete that as well. Get that out the way. So I repeated that process for the rest of the photos that I did. I end up doing 4 photos. You do how many as you want. Same process over and over. Once I got that done, I delete that purple circle because we don't need that no more. Our images are in the shape of a circle, and that's all we need. As you can see, I drag it over that ornament outline and it fits right up in there. So now I'm going to go back to shapes, and I'm going to click on a square because I decide I want to put a name at the bottom of this and I don't want to sit it directly on top of the photo. So I just click a square and I'm going to drag it over half of this circle, over the bottom portion. Now you want to make sure that the image is still visible, but you also want to make sure you have enough space where you leave a name. So I'm highlighting both of that square and that circle, and I'm going to click on more, click on slice, and I'm going to move that bottom piece out the way and move that out the way and move that excess out the way. Now I only have half a circle at the top. I delete everything, all the excess, because I only want the top part of this circle, because you'll see later, but the bottom part is going to be a name. So bam, the half part of the picture goes right there, and at that bottom blank space we're going to put a name there. So I'm going to repeat that process for the rest of these photos, except for the picture of me. If you know what I look like, well, I'm the only man on there, so except the picture of me, I'm going to leave that in a full circle. So I repeat that process, go over here to shapes, and I drag a square. I'm going to drag it, make it bigger than the image of that circle, because you want to make sure you covering all the edges of that, so it just slices out nice and evenly. Making sure I don't cut off her face. Highlight both of those layers. I'll right click when I highlight both of these layers. I'll right click to get that little more menu. So highlight both of those, that little more menu pops up, click on that, click on slice, and it slices out the excess. So we remove the rest of that square, delete that, we don't need that. That black left over that square, delete that. And the bottom half of this circle, we remove that and delete that as well, because we don't need it. We just want the top part. Now, it's up to you how much of that photo you want, how much you don't want. You play with the sizing. It's all up to you, okay? If you want more space at the bottom, if you want less space, it's all up to you. So I'm going to do the same thing for this last image. Highlight both of them and slice that out and remove the excess. Shoop, shoop, shoop. Again, it is important to make sure that square is covering up that whole, all the edges of that circle, or it won't slice out right. Okay, Craftiana? So now I got 3 half images and 1 whole images. I'm leaving mine whole. I still have my ornament outline. Now I'm going to change it to the color of my cardstock. This ornament outline will be in cardstock. So I made it red and duplicated that because I wanted 2 red. Then I duplicated it one more time, changed that color to silver, and duplicated that one more time to silver. So I'm going to have 2 red ones and 2 silver ones. So I made the first 2 red, duplicated another one, changed that to silver, and duplicated it again. So I have now 4 ornament outlines for all my photos. So I'm just arranging them and making them in a way where you can just see what I'm doing better. So I'm just lining these up just so you can see. Okay, Craftiana, you ain't got to do all this. I just need you to be able to see. And as you can see, when I click on those ornament outlines, it's still a width of 3.5. We need that. That is important. So I'm just putting these images in their respective ornament outlines, which ones I want silver and which ones I want red. I'm cutting my ornaments out of cardstock, and the names will be cut out in vinyl. So remember that cardstock is for the ornament outline and the bows, and for the names, I do that in vinyl. And you could do the names in cardstock. It's just, it was easier to cut out in vinyl. So once I got that somewhat lined up, I'm going to go over here to the left side of the screen, click on text, and I'm just going to start typing out all the names. The first name I'm going to type out is Diane. Then I'm going to go up here to the font tab, click on that, and I'm going to look for the font Beautiful Barbie, I believe it's the name of it. You use whatever font you want, Craftiana, okay? I just like this font. So I just chose this font. So I got that changed, and then I'm going to put that in the bottom part of that ornament. As you can see, I need it to fit in that blank space. I don't want it on top of that images, so I adjust the size and play with that until it's in that blank space. And I'm going to change that color to red because I want that in red vinyl. So we know to cut that out in red vinyl. Okay, I'm going to click on text again, type out the next name, and I'm going to put that under this image. I'm just making sure it fits in that circle, it fits under that image, it's not overlapping or touching that. That's how you know this is our guide and our template. However it looks here, it's going to look on in real life. So I'm going to again repeat this process. I'm typing in MAC. I'm changing this color to silver because I want this in silver vinyl and not red vinyl. So bam, put that there. Voila, ta-da, watch out. As you can see, I got that. Bam. And we're just doing the same thing. And I don't have those photos perfectly lined up, but you get the vision, okay? So I'm going to go over here to images again, and I'm going to click on the name, and I'm going to type in a bow. We're looking for a bow. You use whatever bow you want. I liked it this one. So I'm going to close that little tab right there, and I'm just going to downsize this bow some. I'm just playing with the size. I'm putting it right there at right under that little keyhole, and I'm just adjusting the size to how big I want it. You play with that. You can make yours bigger or smaller, but I didn't want to cover up the face, so I made it smaller. I'm going to change this to red because I want this to cut out in red cardstock. I'm doing 2 red ones and 2 silver ones, so I duplicated that. So the red ones are going on the silver one. Then I'm going to duplicate that again, go up there to the little color tab, and I'm going to change it to silver because I want the silver on the red outline ornament. And I'm dragging that right to where it goes. And as you can see, our ornaments are coming together, Craftiana. We're almost there. And I'm just going to duplicate that one more time, and bam, and put that right over this one where it says max. So bam, we're pretty much done designing. After that, we're going to click on make it after you adjust everything to your sizing and you like it, okay? But first, I'm going to click on all the names, and I'm going to click on this little eye thing over here on the right side of our layer panel. I'm going to hide that because everything else will be cut out with printable vinyl and cardstock and not vinyl. So if I would have left that names there while it was red, it would have just cut out on a cardstock, and I don't want that, okay, Crafty? And I want that to cut out on printable vinyl. After we could continue, bam, this is what that looked like. It's time to print this out. So we click on continue, we print that out, and here's our cardstock. All this is cutting out on cardstock, okay? So I recorded this like 3 times, so I wasn't actually cutting it out because it just wasn't saving. So after that, once all that is cut out, you come back and now you want to hide everything else. I unhide the names. So I click on that little eye section on that layer panel. And then I go back and I hide all the bows, all the pictures, and all the ornament outlines, okay? You hide all that because we don't want that to cut out again. We just want to cut out the name. And I'm doing this because I'm cutting this on 2 different materials. Although it's the same color, it's 2 different materials. One is vinyl, one is cardstock. Cardstock is for the outline and the bows again, and the vinyl is just for the name. I'm going to keep saying that. I'm going to keep stressing that. So after I click on all those little eyes, making sure everything else is gone that I don't need because I don't need no extra there, we're going to click on make it because we're doing the same thing, Crafty, and the same thing. Bam. And we press continue and we load up our Cricut mats and do what it do. So bam, we have a silver layer because I'm cutting out matte on silver, and we have some red. Bam, we connect that to our Cricut, as you can see. So I'm using printable vinyl to print out my pictures. So first I print out my pictures because that was the first tab that I caught. So it's printing out. I use the HP DeskJet inkjet printer 4155E. So we let our Cricut print and cut that out. After that's done, then I load up my cardstock. I'm cutting out all my cardstock layers. It goes in order. It tell you what it's doing after I did all my cardstock layers. I did my vinyl layers. I don't know why that slightly shifted out of order. And you should be using a blue mat whenever you're working with paper like cardstock or any type of paper. Use a blue mat. I only had a green one. If you're going to use a green one, you got to be really careful because that green has a lot of stick and it can rip up your cardstock. So I'm weeding out my vinyl after I got those names weeded out, weeding out my photos. I'm just weeding out everything. So here's those acrylic discs that I got from Hobby Lobby. These are the 3.5 inches. I'm taking that first layer of that protective film on, and I'm just laying that image right at the edge of that. It don't have to be perfect, but I'm just laying that at the edge. I'm repeating the process, pulling that picture up, and this is the full picture that I did, laying that right in the center. Pull up the protective layer, lay the picture down. Pull up the protective layer, lay the picture down. And I try to cover that hole, okay? If you don't want to cover that hole, don't cover it. Now I'm taking my Royal Gliss diamond glue, and as you can see, this one was clogged up. I don't know what's going on, why my Royal Gliss keep getting clogged up, but it's irritating me. This is like the 3rd one now. So I found another one, and I'm just doing a thin layer of glue around the perimeter of this ornament, right at the edge. And then I'm going to take my little glitter piece that we weeded out, my ornament outline. I'm setting that right on top of that glue and placing that down. Repeating the process. Do a thin layer of glue around the perimeter. And this one is the full picture, the one I'm not putting a name on. And I'm putting my silver one right there because I want it silver. And just making sure it's pressed into that glue really, really well and adhered to that acrylic. So after I got all those, I repeated the process for the last one. I'm putting a dollop of glue right under that little hole. And I'm placing our bow right under there. As you can see, it is starting to match what we designed on the in Cricut Design Space on the photo. You place that there and keep it going. I just put a dollop of glue and let that there. And be careful because this stuff is not fully dried that. And now I'm going in with my transfer tape. I use the transfer tape from Tape Man Blue. You can find that in my description box. It's in my Amazon storefront. I'm just putting the little vinyl in that space. As you can see, it fits perfectly because I didn't make it too big, too small. And it does what it do. So we're almost there. I let those dry overnight before I went in with my ribbon. So I'm going in with this ribbon I got from the Dollar Tree, cutting that. I'm not no Boy Scout. I ain't never been no Boy Scout. I did drill team growing up, okay? And they didn't teach me how to tie no knots, okay? So I'm just tying a knot, cutting off the excess, and doing the same thing over and over. So that's pretty much the finished product. I let that glue dry on that ornament outline overnight before I went in my ribbon because I didn't want that hanging and pulling that off before that glue was fully dry. You better get into it, Craftiana. Leave me a like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to follow me on all my social medias at Brand So Crafty, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Thank you, Craftiana.